behalf of Congressman Ron Paul, we have with us Dr. Murray Sabrin, who is no stranger to Republican politics, having run before for statewide office. He is a professor of finance at Ramapo College. He has published in many articles in national and regional news publications, and you've probably heard him on the radio too. And as I mentioned earlier, he is a candidate this year for United States Senate. Dr. Sabrin?
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here in Atlantic City. Unfortunately, not Atlantic County. Unfortunately, one of my virtues is I don't gamble, so don't expect me to help your economy too much. Anyway, excuse me? No, I like to visit Atlantic City. We have a lot of friends that go to Atlantic City, and they win, which is very good. Anyway, it's a pleasure being here for Congressman Ron Paul, who I've known for 25 years. He is, I think, one of my heroes, and I don't have many heroes in public life, given where our country is today and where it could be headed, given the course that we're on as a nation. Let me tell you something about the courage, character, and integrity of Congressman Ron Paul, who was first elected to Congress in 1976 in the special election. At that time, President Ford invited Congressman Paul to the Oval Office. And as you know, Gerald Ford was running for re-election that year. And he had a challenger, Ronald Reagan. And President Ford invited the congressman into the Oval Office and said, "Congressman Paul, I'd like your support for my election." And Congressman Paul stood up to the president and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. President, I'm supporting Ronald Reagan." Brand new freshman senator saying to the President of the United States, "You cannot have my support, I'm supporting Ronald Reagan." One of only 4 congressmen at the time who supported Ronald Reagan when everyone said he was unelectable, he was extreme, he was... You know all the words that were used about Ronald Reagan, and he became the most successful Republican president in the post-war period. That's the insight that Ron Paul had about Ronald Reagan's character and vision for America. Another story about Ron Paul. He was in his congressional district, the 14th Congressional District of Texas. He received a call from a constituent, a Democrat, who said to him, "Congressman, I don't agree with you on any of the issues, but I'm going to vote for you anyway because you're a man of integrity and a man of principle." How many people in public life will get the support of a constituent who doesn't agree with him or her on any issue? That's called integrity. And when there's a vote in Congress, 434 to 1, it's Dr. Paul, who's known as Dr. No, because if the bill does not meet the constitutional test, he does not vote for it. And if we had more Dr. Pauls in Congress, we would not be sitting with a $9 trillion debt and $53 trillion unfunded liabilities, which will bankrupt this nation if we don't change course. Where are we today? Dr. Paul has never raised taxes in his 20 years in Congress. He's never voted to raid the Social Security Trust Fund. He has bills in Congress today to eliminate the estate tax, to eliminate the income tax and replace it with nothing. We can downsize the federal government by $1 trillion, which would give us the spending level of 10 years ago, and we would have a stronger economy. That's the vision of Ron Paul for America. We are mired in a situation overseas that Dr. Paul did not support. There, he's taken country above party, as one of the other candidates has said. He votes for country above party. He supported George Bush in 2000 when he said we have to have a humble foreign policy and no nation building. When Bill Clinton did that, the Republicans were opposed to it in Kosovo. Well, Ron Paul is consistent. He does not believe that the United States military should be a social welfare institution spreading all over the world, trying to make countries better. They have to do that on their own. That's the vision of Ron Paul. And that would save us billions, tens of billions of dollars that can be used for our infrastructure that is literally crumbling before our eyes. So while we're building bridges in places that we can't even pronounce or can't even find on the map, Ron Paul wants to save that money and make America better. What else does Ron Paul believe in? He's been the champion of the Constitution. He's been voted by the National Taxpayers Union as a taxpayer's best friend. He's never voted to restrict any of our rights under the Bill of Rights. He didn't vote for McCain-Feingold, which people across the political spectrum have said is the greatest assault on free speech in the history of this nation. It was done for expedient reasons. So my question is, his question is, if you're willing to compromise the First Amendment for expediency, what other amendments that are guaranteed to the American people are you willing to compromise? That's where Ron Paul comes from. If it doesn't meet the test of constitutionality, he votes against it. He's there for protecting everyone's rights. The Second Amendment, he has never voted for a federal restriction on gun ownership. He's one of the few people in Congress that can say that. He's voted in favor of the Fourth Amendment on warrantless searches. He's voted in favor of the Ninth and Tenth Amendment, which says if it's not in the Constitution, it's reserved to the states and to the people. That's what the founders' vision for America was. If the federal government can't do it, then the states and the people can do it, not the federal government. And if we had followed that vision, we would not be in the situation we are in today. So, when Ron Paul invokes Ronald Reagan as peace through strength, he means it. He's been called an isolationist. False. He believes in trade, in diplomacy. And Ronald Reagan won the Cold War without firing a shot. Why? Because it's peace through strength. He also believes deeply, deeply in the Christian values that he doesn't wear on his sleeve. That's why he was not in favor of the Iraq situation, because he believes that to go to war, a nation must follow his principles of just war, that it must be an imminent attack, that it must be confined to military targets, and there must be an exit strategy as quickly as possible. He doesn't wear his compassion on his sleeve. As an obstetrician who's delivered more than 4,000 babies, he's delivered babies for free. He can solve the uninsured problem in America by following his dictate of charity and philanthropy. That's what Ron Paul brings to America as a vision for the country, not the social welfare state that's bankrupting us. Literally, day by day by day. Just go to the internet and you'll see the debt is increasing at something like 200,000 a minute. It's unbelievable. If we had followed Ron Paul's advice and views for the last 30 years, we would be in much better shape today. So I ask you, here's someone who wants to downsize government by getting rid of the Department of Education, the Department of Commerce, and all the other agencies that serve no purpose whatsoever but provide subsidies for the political and financial elite of America. That's the vision of Ron Paul. Financial independence, peace through strength, downsizing the federal government, protecting everyone's individual rights based upon the Constitution. There's a clear choice on February 5th. Someone who's devoted half his life to defending the Constitution of the United States. When he took that oath of office, he means it when he says, I will protect and defend the Constitution. There's no one in Congress who has his voting record for all the rights that we are entitled to, that the Constitution is supposed to guarantee. So on February 5th, the choice, from my perspective, is very clear. Someone who's been protecting everyone's rights, someone who deeply believes in the future of this country, someone who understands the limits of American power overseas, and someone who will be the greatest commander-in-chief in the history of our nation. Thank you very much.